Okay, this is Unit 3, Lesson 3 of Unit A, 3A. We're talking temperature. So it says people talk about the weather and weather conditions constantly. We look out the window in the morning to figure out what we're going to wear if it's warm or cold. So we talk about precipitation, the UV index, that's how hot the sun is on us if we're going to get a sunburn. We talk about the amount of sunshine out there. So what we need to do is be able to convert temperatures. So it says in Canada, we use the Celsius, pretty much Canada and everywhere in the world. There's only a couple places in the world that use Fahrenheit. However, our ovens, all of our ovens use Fahrenheit. So that's interesting, actually. So we're going to find out. So Canada, we use Celsius. So it's just two different measuring scales. That's all it is, two different measuring scales. Just like, for example, in Canada, we use kilometers. In the US, they use miles. We use yards and inches. That's typically mostly in the US. And here we use centimeters and kilometers. So those are the conversions we talk about. So the biggest one we want to talk about right now is the Celsius scale. So normal room temperature is around 20 degrees Celsius. These are ones that we need to remember. So we're going to put stars or highlight these ones. So room temperature, the boiling point of water, and body temperature. Those are the ones we need to understand and remember, okay? So we're going to eventually memorize these ones. Those are ones you're going to need to remember. So the boiling point of water, when you're boiling water on your stove, it's going to boil at 100 degrees Celsius. And always it'll boil at 100 degrees Celsius. Body temperature, so whenever they take your temperature, if you're getting sick or whatever, your normal body temperature is about 36.7, which rounds to 37. So around 37 is your normal body temperature. Anything above that, you have a fever. So when you say you have a fever, you might have 40-degree fever. That's when you have a fever and you're sick and your body's trying to repair itself. So we have different temperature scales. So we have thermometers that measure in tens. So we vertical number scale. All this is, these are shaded. This is all shaded here. But all this is a number line. What they've done is they've taken the negatives, your normal number line, they've taken the negatives and done this. So the negatives have ended up on the bottom. So here's a normal number line. We've got 0 in the middle, +1, +2, -1, -2. Well, these ones, they've just taken this part and put it below. They've taken this part and put it above to give us a vertical number line. That's all it is. So thermometers are a vertical number line. That's it. So anything in the negatives is cold. Anything in the positives is warming up. So we know another one is that things freeze, water freezes at what temperature? 0 degrees. That's another one we need to remember, is that water freezes at 0 degrees. So water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. Now, when you look and you zoom in to each one of these, so for example, if I took a section and I'm going to take maybe 30 to 20 and I'm going to zoom it in, well, that's going to give me 10. Well, what if I zoom into each one of those? Well, that would be what this is. This is the zoomed in version. This is zoomed in. So this is between 0 and 1 degree. Between 0 and 1 degree, just like any ruler that you use to measure. So all of our rulers, every single one of these little dashes here, those are called increments on your rulers. And on rulers going 0 to 1, there's 10 spaces. Same as on here, they count by tens. So that's why we call it tenths place. So that's why, for example, when it rains, your grandmas and grandpas might say, oh, we got 6/10 of rain. Well, all that means is you got 6 out of 10 centimeters of rain. That's what that's telling you in your rain gauge. So farmers like to measure the amount of rain they get so they can tell how dry their fields are. So those are the kinds of things we have. So a rain gauge is a zoomed in. So it's zoomed in. So rain gauges are zoomed in thermometers and number lines, and they catch how much water has been dropped. Okay? All right, turn your page. We're going to be practicing these ones. So we're going to write down the ones that we know. So freezing temperature of water. These are the ones that we need to remember. Okay? So these are the ones that we need to remember these. So need to remember these. Oh, I'm spelling wrong. Hang on. I started spelling the French word. Remember these ones. Okay. So freezing temperature of water, we all said was 0 degrees. That's when water freezes and then we get ice and snow. Boiling point of water. What does water boil at? 3 digits. 100 degrees. What's our normal body temperature? So if they take your temperature to tell if you have a fever or not, what's your normal body temperature? Not 30. 37. So it's about 36 point something. So it rounds to 37. So your normal body temperature when they take your temperature is around 36.7 or 8. Room temperature in the room. What do we keep the rooms at normally? 20. Good. It's normally 20. What's your armpit temperature? Do you know what your armpit temperatures are?
26 degrees.
No.
50.
What's your armpit temperature at?
50.
It's around 36 to 40 degrees because it's the same as your body temperature. The 2 warmest places, okay, on your body, like when you're outside and you're freezing, put your hands in your armpits if you don't have gloves. You're going to warm them up right away because your armpits are your body temperature. They're going to warm them up. Yeah, totally. You just put them under your armpits and you warm up.
I do that, bro.
Okay? Also, rubbing your hands together. That can heat it up, right? You rub them together, they get real hot. Okay, it does cause friction. And then, so if we rub them together, they're going to create a little bit of friction, which warms them up. But what if we do what Caleb did and we really rub them for 10 or 30 seconds? We rub them for a long time, it gets really, really warm. Okay? All right. On the next ones, we're going to label these temperatures. So turn your page. The last 2, they're just blank. Oh, the last 2, we don't need them.
Please, I need them.
No, we don't need those 2. We don't need them, and we don't need these.
Where are they?
All right.
What's the last 2? I need 411.
All right. So we are going to circle 100 degrees Celsius, and we're going to call that boiling point. Boiling point. Okay, so 100 degrees. Find that page with the thermometers.
Am I allowed getting escorted to the bathroom? To like the office one?
No.
What if I actually
Logan not allowed to use the bathroom.
Okay, right in here.
I haven't used the bathroom since I woke up.
It was Mr. Garrow's decision, not ours. So about 37 degrees Celsius, we call that body temperature. Okay, I'm circling 20. What does 20 represent? What's 20 degrees represent?
20 centimeters.
No, nice try. What does 20 degrees represent?
An ankle.
What are we sitting in?
A room. Seats.
So it's room temperature. You were correct. It's room.
You're wrong, Riley.
Okay, so around 20 degrees is room temperature. So if you go home and you check the temperature in your house, there's always on your thermos. Okay, so your thermostat that runs your furnace. Everybody know what those are? Okay, so your thermostat that runs your furnace. Riley. On the wall at home in your house. Normally we keep our houses, our homes, they're normally around 20 to 22 degrees. Okay? And then when it gets cold or warm outside in the summertime, we want to cool our house down. So that's when we turn the furnaces off. When we turn the furnaces off, it stays cooler in our house. But our house usually only stays to about 16 to 20 degrees. So when we cool the house is only 15 to 19 degrees. Okay? That's about a cool house. So when you do air conditioning is around 15 to 19 degrees. Anything above 19, you're getting into room temperature. Okay, room temperature. All right, what does 0 degrees represent? If I want to make ice cubes, I put them in the freezer. So 0 degrees is freezing point of water. Freezing point of water. All right. Now we're going to talk about converting these. Okay, we're going to convert temperatures right away. And when we convert them, there's only simple rules. Okay, there's a couple simple rules. So turn your page, please. We're going to do some estimating temperatures. Turn your page. So here it says, for each of the following, work with a classmate and we are going to figure out each of these temperatures. We're actually not going to figure out these temperatures. We're not going to worry about those. These ones, I'm going to let you guys do these on your own. You can look them up on your phones. We're not going to do it right now. But we are going to flip over to this
I thought we were done.
when we're converting. We're going to go to the converting page. So now when we've got Fahrenheit. All right. So we're converting with our temperature scales. We're talking Celsius. In Canada, we use Celsius. The US, other states, they use Fahrenheit. So we got to convert between them. So if we want to convert between them, on the next page, they're showing exactly what to do. I'm going to write the steps right underneath here. And we're going to go like this. So we're going to go Fahrenheit to Celsius, and then we're going to go Celsius to Fahrenheit because we're going to write the steps down. Okay, you need to write the steps down. So we're going to do the first one, which is Fahrenheit to Celsius on the right-hand side. Celsius to Fahrenheit. So we're going to go. Here's our steps. First step. We are going to multiply the degrees Celsius by 1.8. Step 2, add 32. And that equals degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, only 2 steps to go to degrees Fahrenheit. And we will do a couple examples. So we are going to convert, example, we're going to go with 13 degrees Celsius equals blank degrees Fahrenheit. So now we're going to do both steps. We're going to do 2 steps. So we need our calculators. All right. So step 1, we're going to take 13 times 1.8. I get 23.4. Step 2 says add 32. That's going to give me my answer. So add 32. So now I take 23.4, I add 32, that's going to give me 55.4. You round to the nearest degree, so that's going to give us about, well, it's 55.4 something, so around 55.5 degrees, 55.4 degrees. Okay, if they wanted you to round up to the nearest degree, you would say Right. This one's giving us the 0.4 though. So if they give us the 0.4, what would it round to? 54. If it's a 4 there, it's going to round to 54 degrees because that 4 doesn't make, there's no number after the 4. So it's not going to make it round up to a 5. Okay. So we're just going to leave it. That would be, our answer would be 55 degrees Fahrenheit. That would be our answer. Because the 4 doesn't make it go up. Okay. It stays the same. So we would just take the numbers off the decimal because it wants a whole number. Okay. All right. Now we're going to go on the left side and we're going to convert Fahrenheit to Celsius. So we convert Fahrenheit to Celsius. We have a couple steps to use. First step. Here's our steps to write down. Step 1. Fahrenheit, and you're going to add, subtract 32. So Fahrenheit, let's get rid of that. Fahrenheit, subtract 32. Second step, you're going to take your answer and times it by 5. Third step, you're going to take that answer and divide 9. And that equals degrees Celsius. Okay, there's only 3 steps. So we're going to do an example of it. All right, here's our example. We are going to take 69 degrees Fahrenheit equals blank degrees Celsius. So now we're going to do all the steps that it told us. So we're going to take 69, subtract 32, and get our answer. So I get 37. There's step 1. Step 2 says take that answer, 37, and now I times 5. I'm going to get 185. I take that answer, 185, and I divide 9. And you will get a decimal. 20.5 repeating. So the 0.5 repeating is going to round it up to 21 degrees. So we would say 21 degrees Celsius. Okay, so 69 degrees equals 21 degrees Celsius. All right, once you've got that written down, we're going to turn the page and do a couple more examples. This is the page showing you the steps without me. So these are steps and examples without me. We did all the steps. The only steps you need to remember are the ones we wrote down on this page. These are the most important steps to know. Okay, those are your steps. They say those same steps on this next page. They just do it a little differently. All right, so we're going to practice. This is going to be for you guys to practice on. Where it says practice, so I want you to put a star. You're going to do that page. And that is the end of that. Now we're going to talk about temperature changes. So what I want to talk to you about, so if it was -2 in the morning and it ended up being 15 degrees, how much temperature change was that? So to find temperature change, you use thermometers, or with digits, you take big number, subtract small number. And that equals your temperature change. Now, sometimes you're going to have negative numbers, and that's okay. So here they have a temperature of 5 degrees going up to 20. So what is that? Well, you take big number, 20, subtract small number, 5, we get 15 degrees. So it's always big number, subtract small number. But here's another example. What if it was -7 outside this morning and it goes to maybe 15 degrees today? If it's going to 15 degrees today, what's that temperature change? So we're going to take big number, subtract small number, and that's all we do for all these questions. So I would take 15, subtract -7, and this is what you got to type in your calculator. This is the important part. Your 15 subtract a negative. And when you subtract a negative, it's going to become a positive. So your answer is going to end up being 22. Okay, 22 degree change. And if we did it on a thermometer, let's take a look at our thermometer right here. I'm just going to draw where it would start. So if I had -7, I'd be right here. And if I'm going to 15 degrees, that's right here. We're talking about the temperature change inside there. That's what we're talking about, is how far it went. And this is saying it went 22 degrees. And if you've got a picture of a thermometer, you can actually count them. You can count by 5s, count by 2s, whichever the thermometer shows you. This thermometer counts by 5s. So I would take my 15, I can go 5, 10, 15, 20, and then I would have my extra 2 there, so we end up with a 22 degrees. Okay? So it's always your biggest number, subtract your smallest number. That'll tell you the temperature change, especially when you have negatives. Now, when we're talking temperature, your negatives, we call them minus. It's -4 out. We don't say it's -4 degrees outside. We say it's -4. Okay? That's the difference. All right. They now show you different ways to do it. So you can use your number line. So you could use a number line going left to right, or you can use a vertical line. It doesn't matter which one you use. They're just showing you on the horizontal. Okay? All right. Turn your page. So again, this one's talking about a temperature change, but this time the temperature is starting big and going small. So it's saying you start at 20 degrees and you end at 2 degrees. How much has it changed? Well, you take big number, subtract your small number. And this time the small number is a positive number. So you're just literally subtracting, and that'll give you a positive 18 degrees. That's how they get 18 degree difference on their actual diagram. All right, turn your page, folks. This is the page you are also going to do as practice. This concludes our temperature lesson.